So a lot of our clients have a lot of regrets when it came down to their Texas metal building experience. So stick around, because in this video, we're gonna show you how to save money and time on your next metal building project. Welcome back, Pack. Adbeel here from WolfSteel Buildings, and we're here with Sarah.
Hey guys. So today what we're going to talk about is 4 biggest regrets that we hear from our clients before and even after our building projects are put up.
Now, before we get to that, Sarah, we got a special YouTube exclusive discount. So this is for the month of September, and the recording of today is September 6th. Whenever it gets uploaded, it's probably going to be September 8th, 2023. You get to take advantage of this special. If you're watching it next year, unfortunately, hey, 2024, maybe we have something else. But if you want to know a little bit more about this special, stick around in this video. We're going to be mentioning about it now.
So, what is the biggest issues that you think that we hear all the time?
Yeah, a lot of the biggest regrets that we hear from our clients all could have been prevented during the planning stage, and that is typically the stage that is underestimated, and that's what we're going to be talking about today.
So the top 4 biggest regrets we have seen customers make is the biggest number 1, researching the builder or even the company that they're going to proceed with. Number 2, looking into your permits. If you need permits in your area, if you can even have the building that you're trying to get. Also 2, analyzing your budget, being prepared about what you're looking to spend. And then the last one but not least, failing to think long term rather than like right now type of feel. So can you kind of explain what I'm talking about there, Adbeel?
Let's break those down. Regret number 1, failing to research your building company. So what do we mean by that? And let's start with the tubular industry, so for tubular metal buildings. So the tubular industry is a mix of like manufacturers, the people that actually fabricate and build the buildings, and then dealers. And dealers are typically organizations that focus on selling the product. It's essential for you to understand who are you really working with at that point during the sale process, really who's doing the building and who's doing, the sales. Is it one or what's happening there? And the way I can best explain it to you is similar to, like, say you're buying real estate. So there's an agent, and then there's like the broker company, which can be like Century 21, Remax. Those are some of the ones that are on the top of my head. So the agent sells it, but your all your paperwork, the broker that's really dealing with it is this other companies. Similar for the metal buildings. You might be working with a company that is simply selling you the project, and then from there, they're going to be sending that contract over to a manufacturer or the builder. So it's very important to understand who you're dealing with and investigate and research, do your due diligence to understand, because at the end of the day, the selling process is only about 20% of the whole process. 80% of it, you still have to go through mostly with your builder or manufacturer. So that's extremely important.
I think also too, it's really important to see where, like, whoever you're going to get that building from, where are they located? Because the thing is that getting a building is such an investment. I want to go talk to you. Like, if you're going to sell me a building, I want to sit down with you, because my building is going to be 20, 30, maybe even 40,000, even higher. I want to sit down, talk to you. You show me what you're actually building and what you're pricing me at the end of the day. And also too, it's really important if you know if the dealer or a manufacturer. There's so many dealers out there where you just get a building from a dealer, which is not bad, but then you're passed off to a manufacturer. And it's really important that you research that dealer, but then also too, you have to figure out, okay, who is this dealer working with and what manufacturer, which one are you gonna send me to? Can I research that as well too? And a lot of communication can get lost as well.
Yeah, so a lot of times what's happening is, like, if you're speaking, and really, I think both companies are great.
100%.
You'll find great companies on both ends of the world. The problem is really more in the transferring of communication. That's where something can be lost. And if you go into the reviews, you do some research on Google reviews or Yelp, or even go on Facebook. And I actually encourage a lot of you to go onto Facebook community groups. You'll get to hear firsthand experiences from people that have bought metal buildings and really figure out, you know, what have been their regrets and how did they accomplish to find the right company to do their project. So that's something to really keep in mind, because as I mentioned, like when you go and buy a car, you get to see it, like you're saying, you get to see it, you already know. As soon as you're driving out, you know, you just hope that the motor doesn't break or the motor doesn't fall off, right? But typically that won't happen. But you, as is, you drive off. For metal building, when you're signing that contract, it's just a concept. They still got to go to your site. They still got to build it on there. They still, after that, if something, it's all craftsmanship.
100%.
So if something goes wrong, are they going to repair it? How soon are they going to repair?
Yeah.
If something is not to your liking, how are they going to solve that situation?
And
you know?
I completely agree with you, because right now, like, most of the dealers do help with those issues, but most of the time you actually have to reach out to the manufacturer if you're in that situation. It's not the dealer at that point. They're like, hey, you know, I just helped you build your building and make it a concept of what you're saying. You gotta go talk to the manufacturer now. So now you have that middleman feel, and you're being the middleman. It's not even someone else being it for you. You're just being the middleman. So it's 10 times the work on your end. So it's really important that you honestly look into those things. And kind of moving over into the red iron part, I really think it's really big on red iron because you are spending a lot of money. If your building is red iron, you need to look into whether if the company is going to just supply you the kit, or if they're gonna do the like building and labor and actually put everything up for you. Because right now what you're seeing, a lot of the times what we're seeing is that pricing is lower, but what is different between it is that they're just offering you a kit and they're like, hey, I dropped off the kit at your property, go find someone to build it now.
And we actually build your kits. So if you have a kit, you want us to build your kit, we'll build you your kit.
Actually.
On the red iron construction or the I-beam or rigid construction, there's a lot of suppliers. There's like Mueller. It's a very, very common and staple in Texas. They have great metal buildings. They sell you the kit, and they recommend you with some contractors as well. So it's very important to find out who you're dealing with. In that case, for the red iron world, is are you just getting the kit, or are you getting the full metal building, the whole construction, labor and materials included?
And honestly, that's why WolfSteel honestly was created, because we're the general contractor, where we start with you to the point of you even giving us that phone call all the way up until that finishing date of shaking your hand and being like, congratulations to your new building.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Everything, start to finish. And that allows us to have control. We want to control everything to make sure your concrete is built for your metal building. And then the metal building, we go through the whole permitting process. And then from the permitting process, we design and plan everything out with architectural designs. And then from there, we build it. And then from there, we make sure that everything is to your satisfaction and you're only calling WolfSteel and no one else. That's us obviously selling us, WolfSteel. There are a lot of great other companies. So as long as you're doing your research, it's all that prevent this regret.
100%. I think going back to what Adbeel said, do your research, hop on Google. Look at the reviews, look at the comments, go to their social media platforms, look at their pictures, look at their craftsmanship. Like, the biggest thing is like social media. You can see if someone's doing a good job. What does their trim look like? What is the end finish of the concrete? What are all of these things? And also to simply ask who your manufacturer, who the builder would be if you proceeded with that company at the end of the day.
Or, I know this is extending, but another thing is ask to go see some other projects.
That's a good
If you ask us, we actually coordinate with a lot of our existing clients. So you can go see a job local to you within usually 30 minutes to an hour radius to go and check out their project. So a lot of our clients are very open to doing that. So that's also something that we recommend as a tip to be able to see the craftsmanship and the quality of the work being done by a company. So regret number 2, not researching your permitting restrictions.
Yes, and what we mean by that is same permitting. It's many other things that go into permitting. It's not just give me a piece of paper. And actually, we have a video linked it'll be somewhere up here, of a whole video that we have already done dedicated to just permitting and what it all entails.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is obviously if you're gonna need a permit. From there is who is gonna handle the process. And there's a lot of requirements for permits, especially if you're doing commercial or even just residential now, if you're gonna need engineer plans or not. And is the company that you're hiring, are they gonna handle it or are you gonna handle it? And also any restrictions that you're gonna have there. We used to think that Texas was like the wild, wild west, but it doesn't seem to be anymore.
No, it's not. So actually, many companies do not touch the permitting. Like they don't like to mess with it. They actually even stated in the contract, like, hey, we don't touch it. But now, however, we are seeing some more companies actually dip their toes into it and be a little bit more involved and guide you in a way in the process. A lot of the things that you have to look into is like what is allowed on your property. Can you even have a metal building? Does it have to match your house? Do you have any setbacks? There's a lot of things that actually go into it.
Even like the restriction of like the square footage that you're able to do. So we've actually had a lot of clients that if you don't do your research beforehand, so that's like the regret, you work through, maybe a month of planning, budgeting, and then when you buy the building and then you go into getting your permits, oh no, you must have brick on the front wall. Oh no, you can only have a certain amount of square footage. Oh no, you need to have a setback of this. And so all that changes your whole plans and it pushes you all the way to the start line.
Yeah.
So it's just huge, and it's something that is becoming more prevalent because a lot of clients believe that there is no permit required, or we're in the wild, wild west, so we can do whatever we want with our property. But slowly things are changing, and that is something that we recommend to do more research is on your permitting. Now, when it comes down to the permitting process with WolfSteel, we handle it.
We handle it. No, going actually back to what he's saying, it's really true, guys. Like, it's a huge regret, and even like what you were saying, when they bring it back all the way to the beginning of the process, clients get really discouraged, and it's kind of a crappy feeling on our end of like, dang, like. They got discouraged, and it's something that we can genuinely help with you. I think that it's something that you do need to really look into in your city, and HOA.
HOA. Yes.
HOA.
Sometimes even the permitting is not really, if you don't need a permit from the city or your county, but your HOA has those restrictions. And that's actually very, very common. And HOA obviously is trying to maintain certain control of the neighborhood or the community, which makes sense a lot. So do your research and prepare yourself beforehand before you get to the sales process. Now on our side, before we even sell your building, we actually investigate. We help you with that process. We investigate, with your city, with your county, if there's an HOA, especially since we also do concrete work. So when we do concrete work, it's the setbacks is super important. Restrictions is super important for us before we even go to your site and inspect your site, because that's part of your process. We don't want to go out there and waste our time and come back and then the permitting says you can't even build, or you have to be a certain way. We do a lot of that planning beforehand to be very efficient. So that is something that we do help with the process as well. So let's go to the next one. Regret number 3. So not setting a reasonable budget. So I hate to tell you, but the prices are not pre-COVID, they're post-COVID. So, pre-COVID there was different pricing, there was a lot lower, and now they're just different. So that's just the hard truth.
Honestly, it's very important for you to set a range of what you're looking to spend for a metal building, and not just a set number. You can't do that. And also, too, how are you looking that you want to pay for this? Are you wanting to pull it out of your pocket? Are you wanting to do a financing? Who are you wanting to finance through? Are you going to want to finance through the company, or are you going to want to finance through, your bank? And what are their rates? And is there any discounts available that company can offer you?
For example, WolfSteel Building, September, we have a special, and that's 10% off on tubular metal buildings for the month of September. So again, I don't think we have a discount code, but just say Adbeel said it on YouTube or Sarah said it on YouTube, and you'll get that applied. So make sure to reach out to us. And now going back to the regrets.
Going back to the regrets again. So it's very critical that you speak to your salesperson about the range that you're looking on to spend, because they're going to give you that, okay, you're looking to spend this is what I'm going to be able to offer you. And this is what I'm saying as in like the regret of it is not going in and being and kind of researching on what is the industry looking like right now. For example, cars. Cars are expensive right now. So you kind of know, okay, I'm not going to be able to go get this type of car for the range I'm looking at. That's what I'm saying. Be aware of where we're at right now with pricing. For example, what he said, you're not going to get a 30 by 30 for the same price you did when COVID happened, or post-COVID actually. So that's kind of what we're saying, what the regret that we hear from clients, literally saying, I wish I would have known this before I set my range. But that's what we're here for, is to understand your range and let you know this is what you're allowed right now. Yep. In that way, and what I can offer you.
Yeah, and a lot of times what's happening is when our clients set a specific number, because I've heard so many of this regrets. You set a number and you're trying to crunch so many, like what you can out of that number, and then there are regrets later on. So like, for example, we had a client, he had full insulation, but didn't get overhead doors. So the whole insulation in reality turned out to be a waste, we could say, because it's like you have an insulated building. It's like you're rolling with your air conditioner on, but you got your windows down. So essentially, it doesn't make sense. So because there was a budget set, it didn't take account other factors. So keep in mind that there's a site preparation to prepare your ground. Keep in mind that your concrete needs to be prepared for your site and your building, and then keep in mind the insulation that might be needed, especially in Texas, in order to really use your building. So the range, always keep in mind that there are other factors as well involved in buying a metal building. You kind of have to buy all of them in order to really have a great experience with the metal building. Instead of just trying to fit something in, you're gonna have some regrets down the line.
I'm really glad that you brought that up, because the thing is whenever you're comparing also to company and apples to apples, take exactly what you're saying in consideration when you're doing that. It's not bad to compare. Like you were talking to me earlier and you're like, I think it's great that customers take a moment and do try to compare and do try to look for that best price. It's great, but please take in consideration though what this company is offering, what the other company is offering as well too at the end of the day. Take in consideration as well too, what is the process that they're gonna take you through and where are they gonna leave you at one point. There's so many things that are taken in consideration when a company is setting their price that I don't think a lot of people take in consideration as well too.
Yep. Regret number 4, thinking short term instead of long term.
Okay. What do you mean by that though? Like thinking long term. Like what do you mean by that? That's wrong.
Well, let me tell you some stories. I think that's just the best way I can explain. So a lot of our clients call us later on, hey, I want to make my building wider, or I want to make it longer. And then also like, oh, I wish I would have done it taller because now I have an RV. I wish that I would have gone with the vertical siding because it has the girth so I could run my electrical. Now I have to add wood. So spray foam, I wish I had the foam gap enclosure so that way the spray foam did not ooze. So there's just failing to think long term is a lot of those regrets of like planning ahead and also thinking that, I don't know, maybe in the next years, because these buildings will last a lifetime. Yeah. So if you have a midlife crisis in the next 10 years, just kidding, not a midlife crisis, but a big change in your life. All of a sudden you are a fan of RVs, or you have a boat, or you actually want to use your building for a different purpose. Like for example, if you get a storage type of building and then you want to convert it into a home, is that building reinforced to already make it into a home?
Supply like the dead loads and stuff like
That
that. You're
loads
gonna
the
be
category of the construction, the engineering of it. So a lot of planning. I'm gonna tell you a story of my dad. So my dad, he got a 30 by 40 metal building, and then he asked a lean-to off of it, which is like a lean-to, so he could park his cars, because he got the 30 by 40 like packed with stuff. And then he's like, you know what, I need to make it longer. So he makes the main building, the 30 by 40, a 30 by 80. And last week, and I went to his property, and he already poured a concrete on the other side. He's like, yeah, I'm about to add another lean-to. So he got lean-to this way, and he's about to add another lean-to and fully enclosing it. Well, you know what? It's easy for metal builders like my dad and I.
Yeah.
But if you want to make it wider, you really can't make your main structure wider anymore. So always plan ahead of things you might want to do with your building, things that could happen. And sometimes it is more cost effective to do it now. And with the way interest rates, inflation, longer in time, things are going to be more expensive. That's just the reality of an economy.
And I think that's really smart that you're saying that, because planning for a building is extensive by itself. Whether it's just storage or anything like what your dad's going through right now. Like, he thought that he could just get a building, even him being a builder, and he got too many toys. And I think it's really important that you ask yourself the questions: am I going to be putting electricity in it? What am I going to be using this building for? What are my future goals for this building? What do I think that this building could turn into? These questions should be asked honestly to yourself, and also to even from your salesperson that you potentially work with, just so you can start thinking ahead of time, so you're not, no offense to your dad, having to add on later and adding on, because he's probably having a headache adding all that stuff on.
And then panels start fading, the colors start
100%.
fading, and when you add on,
about that. It's gonna look different.
when you add on, they're different. So those are things just to keep in mind. We've gone through this process, and I hope that all these regrets, you guys learn from them, or at least take our advice the best way it possibly can. If you have any regrets, leave them in the comments. We'd love to chat about them. We'd love to know about them, because that way we can help our clients better. We can help our community not go through the same troubles that maybe you went through. So if anything, share with us. We love those. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.
Yes, and don't forget to say something about that discount, because it's up in September, right? End of September, it's done.
31st, I can't remember.
Well, our
The end of
favorite
September.
marketer, Anadela, she'll put it up here somewhere for us. But again, guys, what he said: like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your regrets that you ran into, or any questions that you have. And until the next video, guys, have a great day.